Okay, let's talk snow plowing. But before we do, we have to go look at a parking lot real quick. And this parking lot belongs to, it's a shared parking lot between one of my customers that I mow their lawn and I plow their driveway and I do their spring and fall cleanup. But they have she is a realtor and her office shares a back parking lot with a bake shop, and apparently the guy that owns the bake shop has had somebody plowing it for the last couple of years, but he didn't show up during that real bad storm we just had. And apparently it's because the guy that had contracted this snowplow person, the one that owns the bake shop, he hasn't paid this guy in 2 years. And why somebody let it go 2 years without getting paid is beyond me, but that's the deal. So the lady that shares the parking lot, that's my customer, she wanted me to give her a price on the parking lot, so I did, and she accepted it for the rest of the winter, and she said just bill her and she'll get the bake shop's half from them. So we gotta go look at that lot, so let's go look at it. So it looks like I can push everything straight in, right up to where that silver car is. And then I can back drag a little bit out from that dumpster up there on the right. And I can bring that right down to right there in that pile. And that opening is nice and simple enough, nice and big. Easy one, small. So as you saw, it'll be pretty easy, nothing to it. Just a couple, this can be a quick little video, just a bunch of, to touch base on a few questions I've been getting in a lot of my snow plowing videos. We're gonna answer a bunch of those questions. First off, some people have asked me how I bill and how I do it for snow plowing. I offer it two ways. They can pay for the season in the beginning of the season for unlimited plows for the whole season, or they can have it per plow and I invoice them at the end of the month for however many times I was there that month. Now, here's where it comes to some concern for some people apparently, because I explained in that last bad storm we had, a lot of driveways I plowed 3 and 4 times. Now they said, do you bill them 3 and 4 times of going to their house? You bill them for every single time? That's kind of dishonest, isn't it? And it's not, for 2 reasons. One, I make it very clear to them up front, right from the beginning. In a bad storm, I could possibly be at your house 2, 3, 4 times in a 24-hour period, because I don't wait till the storm is over. I plow with the storm. My trigger is 3 inches. As soon as it drops 3 inches, I go and I plow. And if it continues to snow and by the time I'm done with my whole route it has dropped another 3 inches, I go back and I hit it again. If I were to wait until the end of the storm, like this last storm we just got was over 12, 13 inches of snow. If I wait till it's all over and then plow your driveway once, that's a lot more snow, that's a lot more wear and tear on my truck, my plow. It's a lot harder to push, and that $30 driveway could potentially be a $50 driveway at that point, just because there's a lot more to do. There's a lot more snow there, and like I just said, it's a lot more wear and tear on my equipment. So I make it very clear to them right from the beginning. If you want to go with the per plow, that's on you, but understand I might be there 3 or 4 times in a 24-hour period, and you're going to pay for each one of those. So I make it very clear, so there's nothing dishonest about it, and I'm leaving it up to them. Now, if they pay that seasonal rate for unlimited plows for the winter, a lot of guys in my area, they run their seasonal rates from November 1st to April 1st. Well, this is Western New York, and it can and will snow the second, third week of April. You know, it's happened before. A lot of years it don't, most it don't, but it can happen. So I don't put time limits on it. When you pay for unlimited plows, mine's a little bit higher, my overall cost, than a lot of guys in my area, but it's a little bit higher because I don't put limits on it. They still get service the same way as soon as it drops 3 inches, and then it could be 3-4 times in that 24-hour period, but they're covered all the way around. So they pay that, it's due November 1st, and they're covered for the entire winter. So when it comes to doing seasonal rates, somebody's getting screwed. It's either going to be the customer or it's going to be me. Either it's not going to snow at all like this winter. It hasn't snowed all winter up until about a week ago, and they're paying for that anyway, or it's going to snow like crazy and I'm going to come out the short end of the stick. So it's never in the middle. There's never a happy medium. It's going one way or the other, and I make that very clear. So they have the choice. I leave it up to them. Nobody can complain at the end because it was their choice. So that's how I do it. As far as salting, a lot of people have asked me, mostly newer people to my channel have asked, do I do salting? I don't do that anymore. If you go back through my videos, you will see when I did salting, how I did salting, how I used to store my bulk salt since I didn't have a big outdoor area to store it. You can go back to my videos and find all that out. Now, the thing about salting, and apparently this has come up a lot because there's a lot more guys making videos on salting. I've watched a lot of guys do salting this year, and it blows my mind. I think maybe they just don't have the knowledge, but a lot of guys are dumping rock salt all over concrete sidewalks. Now, when you put rock salt on concrete, over time, that leaves little pop marks in the concrete. It destroys the concrete, and it'll leave little pop marks all over the place. It makes the top layer of the concrete real brittle. You're supposed to use something like calcium, and when I did commercial salting, I would rock salt my parking lots, but my sidewalks, I had 5-gallon buckets of calcium in the bed of my truck, and calcium is what I would spread on the sidewalks because it doesn't destroy it. It won't hurt the concrete. A lot of guys are just dumping rock salt on everything though, and it's going to come back to bite them. You know, the customers are not going to be happy about that. Also, I see a lot of guys just dumping in their videos lots of salt across parking lots when there's an inch and a half of snow. Now, when I plowed and I salted these lots, if there was an inch and a half of snow, I would scrape that lot down real quick and then I would salt it. You're going to use far less material if you scrape it first versus just dumping a lot of salt and loading up those parking lots with all that salt, hoping it's going to melt off that inch and a half, and then there's still a little salt remaining in case it freezes to keep the ice away. So why these guys aren't scraping these lots down first and then salting is beyond me. Maybe it's maybe they just don't have the knowledge or the experience and they don't know. But and in a lot of cases, if it's, I had a few parking lots and that were per plow and per salt, and I would tell them, listen, if there's an inch and a half, I'm scraping that lot down first and then I'm salting. Overall, I'll use less material for salt, and it makes it safer because the salt is still there, so anything that melts, it's going to keep it from refreezing, and they know that. So I would be able to bill for plowing, even though I'm only scraping down an inch and a half off that lot. I could bill them for a plow and I could bill them for salting. So it was more money in my pocket. I'm already there anyway, you might as well do it. Now, that's not being dishonest either, and that's not cheating them either, because they were zero tolerance lots. So they didn't even want that inch and a half, and that's why I had to salt it anyway. So I would scrape it down, use less material. I got to bill for a plow, I got to bill for salting. I'm already there, might as well make the maximum money I can make. So that covers that. The other question I get a lot is, why am I only doing driveways now? The reason I'm only doing driveways is because other than that lot I just picked up, you know, that's right in the village, that's right along my plow route, and that's right around the corner from my house. Most commercial lots that I was doing were in the city of Niagara Falls, which I had to go up to Niagara Falls, and it's about 15 minutes, 20 minutes away from my house to where my lots were. So sometimes it would snow there and not at my house, or it'd snow at my house and not there. They were 0 tolerance lots, so I'd have to get up and go anyway. And my trigger was still 3 inches on my driveways, but I would have to get up, even if there was only an inch of snow that night, I would have to get up anyway and go do these lots early in the morning before they opened up. And I was just sick of doing it. I just didn't want to do it anymore. And in my area, everything is lake effect snow, so it comes through in bands. So it could, you know, dump 5-6 inches of snow in Niagara Falls, and then where I live in Lewiston, New York, there couldn't, you know, maybe not even be a flake of snow. So it was just a big mess all the way around. Now I do right about 52 driveways, and not one of them is more than 5 miles from my house. If you guys watched the last video I did with the outside the truck camera views, I'll link that video in the end of this one. You will see how close all my driveways are. Out of them 52 driveways, 90% of them are all within like a 5-mile radius of my house. Or actually most of them are within a 2-mile radius of my house. So it's compact, they're short, everything's right there, and you know, all I have to worry about is the snowfall right in my immediate area. And it just makes things a lot easier. So that's just some basic stuff that I've been getting a lot of questions on in my videos. So I hope that answers some questions for most of you newer guys, I would guess, that don't really know. But you know, go back through my videos. You'll see all my videos on the Salter that I ran, how I rebuilt the Salter, Ryan and I, everything that I had done to it, how I had the setup in my truck, my controls in my truck for the Salter, how I put the vibrator kit on the Salter so that when I'm running bulk salt through it, because most tailgate Salters are only run the best off bag salt. But if you run bulk salt through, which they say you really can't, well, you can. But you got to have a vibrator kit on there so you can, you know, hit it on a couple times and it'll shake the whole bin and shake it loose and drop it down in. I'll show you how I did all that. I'll show you how I stored my bulk salt, everything. Well, I won't show you. You can see it all if you go back through my videos, so everything's in there. But that'll answer any questions you guys have. But this just briefly touches on, you know, everything else. But feel free to go back and watch them, and I hope this answered all the main questions you guys have had. Thanks for watching.